Yes, sir. Welcome back, man. Episode 145, 145 in the can. What's going on, man?
We in the building, man. It's time to chop it up, talk what we need to talk. Let's talk that ish again.
Let's do it. Talk to me, man.
So yeah, let's jump into it, man. 53 years. They've been waiting, they've been cheering, they've been going crazy. Shout out to the New York Knickerbockers. They have won the championship. Now let's dive into what does this mean for the city of New York?
Means everything. You know what I mean? 53 years. But I think what gets lost during this, they won two titles before that. So this their third franchise title. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So man, just being, just let's start from just being Caribbean, man, with just New York ties and just you're a default Knicks fan. We had our regular team. And obviously you secretly rooted for the Knicks if you wasn't a Knicks fan, just because of Patrick Ewing and what it was like back in the day, John Starks and all these iconic players, Oakley, Anthony Mason, Sprewell, Allen Houston. So it's a lot of great New York Knicks, man. And I love the alumni section. It feel like a college atmosphere. You
Facts.
see just these old school Knicks players, Patrick Ewing holding the trophy. I love to see it, man. I think Cowboys on the clock.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think about the Cowboys, it's messed up, but like you think of Braun, what he did for Cleveland, these franchises that just been forever. They ain't winning forever, man. So
Mhm.
you can't I feel like you'd be a hater if you're not happy for the New York Knicks.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I'm happy for Brunson. I'm happy for
Oh, for
Cat.
sure.
Definitely happy for OG and Anobi. Just
Yeah.
just the player who he
The
is,
second one.
the grit. Yeah, I know, right? The grit for him. So shout out to him and what's going on. But I mean, when we look at the status of the finals, right? Does this make and you heard what Rick Brunson said on Inside the NBA? He says Patrick Ewing is still the greatest Nick of all time. Where do we put Jalen Brunson as a Nick now?
Man, you gotta win it. And I love Pat, man. Yardman to the end, but Brunson won it. Pat Ewing had a lot of heartbreaking losses to the hands of one Michael Jordan, man. A lot of people, Barkley, Malone, a lot of all-time greats would have had a ring if it wasn't for Michael Jeffrey Jordan, right? So, but Brunson did it. Brunson did it. Not only did he do it, he did it. He's under 6'2". A little guard. We already know the Becky Hammond. We already know the Stephen A. Smith. We already know the people who hated on him early. But for him to do that, man, his determination. I know now everybody's screaming Mamba mentality. Obviously, he's a Kobe athlete. But we've been talking about that in the pod. Go look in the archives about how his mentality was like Kobe from the jump. I never seen Jalen Brunson smile this much.
Yeah.
You could tell, like, finally he could breathe, not kind of be himself. He
Mhm.
was locked in. He didn't even want to look at the trophy. Didn't want to touch the trophy. Didn't want to talk about it. He went in there like a military mindset of let me come in here and secure all the women and children and go back home.
We spoke of Knicks, but let's speak of New York. Where does he rank in New York, faithful? Of course, Frankie Sinatra's up there,
Mm.
Jay-Z's up there, Nas, Biggie, Derek Jeter, A-Rod for the one that he did win.
Lenny Dykstra with the Mets. That's a
It's a lot. It's a lot of names. I mean, you even got what's my man's name who predicted they win for the Jets?
Namath.
Namath. You got
Man,
Joe
Broadway Joe.
Broadway Joe. You got so many people. Is Jalen's life or his star? If there was a New York Walk of Fame for stars, is he up on that level?
100%. Just off of when he did it, how he did it. It's too iconic, man. Before I think during the beginning of this Knicks run, we thought about Detroit Pistons. Just a team that hustles. I think they're better, bro. You've never seen a team dominate the whole playoffs like this,
Mm,
besides like the '01 Lakers, and you got to go back to
facts.
like early Golden State on their run. I don't know the exact record, but
Facts.
the Knicks been dog walking people, so we can't.
Facts.
I don't want to pigeonhole them with the grinders and the dogs because they've been blowing cats out, man. It hasn't even been close. They've been coming back from 20 plus points down since the Boston series.
Mhm.
So we know it's funny. I'm watching the game when it was up by 29, the Spurs. I told my wife, like, the Spurs blow leads. They'll let them back in. And the way OG was playing, I was like, he's keeping them afloat. Sure enough, they blew the lead. My wife looked at me like I'm Nostradamus because you just know the momentum. We talk about the youth a lot, the youth of San Antonio. It was just too much, man. You got Ben Stiller here. You got Larry David right here, Hove right there. It's a lot of things going on. Now, you think everybody could just lock in and ball, but these some of the people you've seen your whole lives in front of you
Facts.
watching you play
Facts.
basketball.
Facts.
It's a lot that come with that. Everybody just can't be a pro and just block out the noise. You're seeing these people in front of you. You don't want to look crazy in front of Hov.
That's a fact. That's a
or
fact.
Nas or Wu Tang. You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
fact. That's a fact.
So it's a lot of pressure.
Let's talk the losers in the whole scenario, and we're gonna cover a couple losers in the scenario. Let's jump into it first. So Spurs, they shake the hand after the game. Everybody left.
Wemby
They
specifically.
get yeah, and everybody
Yeah.
brings that up. Is this the last time we see Wemby in the NBA Finals?
Ooh, you went there with it, huh?
Because I mean, a lot of times people don't get
I,
back. They
yeah,
don't go back. Look at Dwight Howard. Look how long it took
yeah.
him to go back. He had to go to the Lakers to go back.
That's what I'm saying. There's no guarantees.
Mhm.
You know what? I knew that, but it got reassured with me for the OKC team with Harden and them. I'm like, oh, they'll be back, and that's what they kind of remind me of. Where this ain't a hot take, but it's a take, right? They better be careful with Dylan Harper. And he obviously came out. Well, Vassell came out and said like, Harper didn't officially say it, but he wasn't happy with his playing time, right? Why the Spurs got to be careful is yes, he's young, but he ready, bro. He's a capable dude. He could guard. He could get buckets. He's not afraid of the moment. Don't James Harden yourself. What I mean by that is we saw James Harden's promise when he was at OKC, win a six man of the year, ahead of schedule with his development. And when it was time to pay him, they chose Serge Ibaka.
Facts.
And we see what that happened, how that worked out for them, right? I think Harper has the ability to be an MVP winner or a finalist. He has that much skills to me. So yes, it's Wemby's team, but out of all of them, Castle needs to work on his ball handling. Like it's just a lot of turnovers. He needs to really work on skills, ball work, right? Harper's ready to go. And
Facts.
he did all that with limited minutes. He was on a minute
Facts.
restriction. He didn't even get the handcuffs off of him. And he was able to do that. So that's priority number one, man. Get Harp, talk to him nice. Mitch Johnson, go take a by him a rollie, take him out, and just make him feel comfortable with your plan going forward this offense. Because if they let Harper walk, he got the ability to be a top 10 player at some point in his career.
All right, let's keep the losers question going. So since Kevin Garnett left the Timberwolves, I know you've seen this post. Oof. KG went to the Celtics, he won. All right. Kevin Love left Timberwolves, he won. All right. Wiggins left T Wolves, went to Golden State, he won a ring. Now you got Carl Anthony Towns. He left the T Wolves and he won. Can you see another player leaving Minnesota? And we know who we're talking
And
about.
you say this, he's trying to start stuff, man.
Listen. You know I am the creator of chaos when it comes to Prince and Barty. We gotta talk this type of joint. Ant-Man, size the league, depending on where he goes, is a championship in his way.
I'm not gonna lie, man. All the players you named had to get up out of there, bro.
Mhm.
Like you almost too. And I love Minnesota. Minnesota's a dope city, by the way. Like I've been there, been to Prince's Museum Mansion. It's a dope city. They love hip hop. They love their sports. So let me not even disrespect them, right? Ain't got to demand the trade. That's the only way he's gonna get out of there because you got new ownership.
Mhm.
Alex Rodriguez over there. So you want that stadium packed, right? But that ain't it. And if I'm Ant, I'm looking around the league like, damn, Spurs ain't going nowhere. And believe it or not, the Clippers might make some moves now. So I say like it's a lot of teams in the West that are capable. Lakers not going nowhere. OKC definitely not going nowhere. You got a lot of teams that before Minnesota, when they went to the Western Conference Finals back to back, you like, okay,
Mhm.
but now it's a new day. You know how that gap closes so fast when NBA, where a team is popping, then it's like, just kidding, on to the next. We saw that with the Grizzlies. There was a new it team with Ja. Ja's the only person left on that team from the original team. So the business of basketball changes things. Lou Dort's up for he's going to be a free agent. So it's a lot of things that could shake up the West. Now, if Minnesota gets Lou Dort, that can move a needle. But I still think they need a true point guard for Ant to really sniff any. And what true point guard of that level could get Ant over the hump?
Facts. Let's go on another losing way. I'm gonna call this one a curse of champagne poppy. Siakam, he left, went to the finals with the Pacers. OG Anunoby, he left, he went to the finals and won with the Knicks. Kyle Lowry left, went to the finals with the Miami Heat. DeMar, is the finals in your future? What's your take?
I don't know. I mean, DeMar DeRozan's been in the league a long time, man. He not now he goes on the team. He might be coming off the bench, might be a fourth option. DeMar DeRozan's been in the league a long time, man. I don't. His closest times, I always say, DeMar DeRozan is Clyde Drexler without the rings of the modern era of what they call it, LeBronto.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like if it's not for LeBron, DeMar DeRozan is playing in a lot of NBA finals, at least two. So it's one of those things, but I get what you're saying though. Like a lot of people have left and went on, and a lot of people only won there. Kyle Lowry only won there. You know what I mean? Kawhi won obviously in San Antonio, but I don't think Kawhi gonna win again.
Let's go to the free agent sweepstakes. You got two names on the free agent sweepstakes. Of course, it's LeBron, and then of course it's Giannis. Let's start off with Giannis first. Of course, we've seen in the rumor mill that it says that he wants to go to Miami Heat, but since the trade deadline, they could not come to an agreement. From what I heard was on the table, it was Tyler Hero and a couple of draft picks. Then it was Tyler Hero and Jamaican Jesus
Norman Powell.
on the trade block for him. Where does Prince see Giannis Antetokounmpo going this free agency or this offseason?
Remember in high school, it was that chick you wanted.
Mhm,
Like, you wanted her bad, man. She had just everything going on, right? You just wanted her. You just that young puppy love, right? Then you get a little experience. You see her a couple years later, and she don't look the same.
mhm.
She not as attractive. You like, man, I wanted her. I think the Heat are gonna suffer that same fate. They're gonna get Giannis. Giannis will end up in Miami, I believe. But the Giannis they wanted before is not the same Giannis.
That's true.
So when they was trying to get Giannis 3 years ago, 4 years ago, remember Giannis been linked to the Heat for a long time.
True, true.
So this is not nothing new or anything of that nature. So I don't know. Is Giannis Giannis? Yes. Is his Achilles going to be sore in the playoffs? Yes. Is his hamstring going to be sore? Yes. Giannis has become like a more serviceable Joel Embiid just later in his career, and I mean that from an injury standpoint. Go look at all the times when he remember they lost to the Heat first round. Giannis got hurt. The other year when Chris Middleton was playing on one leg and Dame blew his Achilles, it was just Chris Middleton by himself. You get what I mean? So it's a lot of question marks for Giannis. You know,
Mm,
I think we're still in love with the idea of Giannis, just like we're in love with the idea of KD. Man, we get KD. We've seen it happen with Brooklyn. We've seen it happen with the Suns. We've seen it happen with the Rockets. These players are so great to where you think they could just change everything, but the Knicks showed you don't.
true.
You know, I think the Knicks really change how teams are going to be structured, right? So we know it's a copycat league. So it's like, oh, you just need two primary wing defenders, an attacking point guard, and a center that could take over games. Cat. So I don't know who's left at the Heat for Giannis to play with.
I mean, everybody's injury plague anyway.
But no, but I'm saying you got to clean that whole cupboard. If I'm the Bucks,
Yeah,
let me get Bam. It ain't like you going to play with Bam,
that's true.
or you gonna give up Ware, Hero. Who you giving up?
I mean, if the best move I think for any team is the Celtics, because if the Celtics can get rid of those pieces, it will make a difference. But I mean, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears real quick. I want you to put on the fantasy GM hat. You lose the finals with Vassell, Castle, Harper, Fox, and you also lose with, of course, Wembyama. What do you do to get yourself back in the finals? Do you keep the core together? Or are there some people that you have to get rid of? Because I mean, of course, if it was me, I'm just giving my take, I would go get Hardenstein and I'll make them Twin Towers. I would get rid of some people because
Yeah,
what we
Cornette's not enough
yeah,
when
he's
he goes out the game.
and,
That's a good point.
yeah, I would get Hardenstein and I actually would start him. And another thing too, you look at the coaching too. I believe Johnson needs to be fired. Yeah, Plumlee on the bench the whole time and didn't play. Plumlee's on the bench. You could have
He's a
started Plum
body.
you could have no, you could have started
Yeah,
Plumlee for rebounds. You could have done something to make they didn't make no adjustments. They just kept trying to play the game the same way.
it
So is it the team need to be refigured or is it the coaching?
I think too. Okay, let's start with the De'Aaron Fox thing. I know now he's the guy everybody wants to blame, but he's the reason they won that other game.
Mhm.
He's the reason they won that one game in New York with that jumper he hit late. You know, so let's not. I don't want to get caught up in the De'Aaron Fox hate train, but I think it's crowded on the ball. You know, because Castle he can obviously play combo guard. Harper can as well. But the problem is they're young, and Fox is set to make 50 million next year. So that's the horse you got to ride. And I think a lot of them riding with Fox was because of that. He's your all-star guy. He was voted Mr. Clutch. You know all his De'Aaron Fox is a hooper. Like I don't want to like muddy his name because of maybe one bad matchup, one bad series. So I can't do that to him. But I don't know, man. I think it's more of the adjustments with Wemby where you know what I was thinking about with Wemby, right? What is Wemby's go-to shot? Like where And I'm not even being a cliche Jordan fadeaway or Kareem skyhook. I don't even mean on that level. Like for Wemby to be that tall, he doesn't score easy enough baskets. So like you got Anunoby on him, he can't put the ball on the ground. They want you. They'll make you shoot that jumper. His jumper is incredible, but they'll let you shoot that.
The Cousins podcast, shout out to T Mac and Vince Carter, that T-Mac made a very good point. He said, "Why is he not by the rim?
I
If
get it.
he's by the rim every play, it doesn't matter." So to answer your question, this is why I'm bringing that up. When he tips the ball to himself, you can't stop it. You throw it up, you
Yeah.
tip it to yourself, put it in. Throw it up, tip it to yourself. And what's going to happen is they didn't play the foul game enough. Like at least 3 games, Cat and Mitchell Robinson should have been in like both have 5 fouls, and they fell in love with the three, and that's why for me, if you really want to ask me my opinion, I think they're fine as is. I think that they still have the best team. They have the best team in the league by far, but I think Johnson is not the coach. They need to fire him.
I think too, yeah, to add to what you're saying is, okay, cool. I think it's a comfort thing. I think the easy cliche thing is, oh, get in the weight room. Yeah, but a lot of times it got to be coaching. How could I send different screens to get a favorable matchup in the post for him? You got to like give different actions. I just felt like it was like pass, and Wemby just sits there, waits for the ball. You know how many times Josh Hart was on him in the post? You got to exploit that. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of having a Lamborghini and I'm going 40 miles per hour. Like I'm not even
That's
all the way
true.
using it correctly.
That's true.
So that's why I look at Wemby like I don't understand he's easily the guard. Shoot that jumper. I'll take that. You might make it, you might miss, but at least you're not coming into this paint, getting us in foul trouble and things of that nature. He doesn't put so Shaq mows down, he puts pressure on the rim and the team.
Mhm.
Shaq will be in a bonus 5 minutes into the game. You would think Wemby would get people in the bonus. The hardest driver is Keldon Johnson and Castle.
That's true.
As far as like who and Johnson didn't really have a great series.
No, he did not. Keldon Johnson, and he was 6 man of the year.
Yeah, bro. He didn't give them like I think like you said, styles makes fight. It's just one of those things where it wasn't his series to impact because Hart is a similar build to him. So is Ananobi. So he doesn't have like that physical edge like he did the last series.
That's true.
So, but I mean, we'll see, man. But a lot going on in sports, man. You got the World Cup going on. Stanley Cup just ended, man. So we didn't get to talk about hockey as much as we wanted to, but let's talk hockey, man. Carolina, they got it done, man. Talk to us about just their journey of just knocking on the door to now finally winning. What does it mean to that franchise?
From about 2017, Carolina's been knocking on the door. They just didn't have all the pieces put together. I think the organization took a page from the Florida Panthers and they put things together. And it's crazy because I love what the Hurricane are doing, Carolina Hurricane doing. The city's loving it. And for them to beat a team as Vegas, but they were the favorite. Of course, they were the favorite in the series. But took them 6 games. They beat them. Now we got to see what they're going to do in the future because as you've seen with the Florida Panthers, you can go 2, 3 seasons in a row and then don't even make the postseason. So now I love what's going on with the Hurricane. I'm excited. It was a great series. Shout out to Vegas because I think Vegas will be back as always. They have enough bullets in the gun to come back and be the Western Conference team as far as for the National Hockey League. When you look at Carolina winning the Stanley Cup, it does big things for the city of North Carolina. It's going to be crazy. I know the parade is going to be stupid on Tuesday. Stupid on Tuesday. It won't be New York, but it's still going to be crazy. Shout out to them because Carolina is more of a football. Well, basketball when
Yeah,
you mean college,
right.
but it's more football. They love their Carolina Panthers. Win lose, they love them. But to see what the Hurricane has done and to beat Vegas VGK in 6 games, shout out to them and what they're doing. They definitely get an applause.
No, salute, man. And man, this World Cup been crazy, man. Like, my wife and daughter tired of me. I'm all the way locked in on this, bro. Like I'm all the
Facts.
way locked in. I think for me, just playing soccer younger, obviously I got too tall to play. Where now you got forwards and strikers that are 6'5",
Mhm.
6'6". So like I wish I would have knew that then, right?
Mm.
But soccer's a dope game and I'm all about touch. I'm all about the skill. So when it translates to the NBA. Obviously Hakeem Olajuwon was a big soccer fan. Luka Doncic, soccer. A lot of players. Kobe Bryant trained with soccer, so it just gives you a lot of footwork. We posted something the other day is Neymar versus Kyrie Irving. A lot of people, if you're a casual soccer fan or don't know, you probably be like, "I'll take Kyrie," but not knowing the skill that Neymar has, that Ronaldinho had back in the day,
Mhm,
Ronaldo.
mm,
So it's a lot of great soccer players. I just want people to just lock in and just appreciate the skill. Obviously, no matter what country you're from, you're gonna support. But I mean, just sit back and watch how skilled these dudes are. It's another level of skill. If you like
facts.
footwork, you like handles and basketball, this is the equivalent of that, man. When you see Yamal, one arguably the greatest player in the world for Spain, just have people looking like crash dummies out there. The skill set of Messi, of these guys, of Holland. So
Mhm.
obviously Mbappe. But yeah, bro, tap into the World Cup, man. All my non-soccer fans, that's my advice to y'all. Tap in, man. Y'all might appreciate it more than you'll know.
Definitely, definitely.
But man, I'm not gonna I got my guy here, man. We're gonna get into this Barty report, man. We haven't really got to dive into your thoughts because OTAs are kind of coming to an end, man,
Mhm.
until we like ramp up into real preseason. What are your thoughts and everything, man? Obviously AJ Brown, that was the story. You told me about the masseuse, about him going back, signing his name. But let's start with AJ first. What is AJ's numbers going to look like for the Patriots? Will the Patriots utilize him more than he was utilized with you? You guys won a championship with him, right? So, how will the Patriots use AJ Brown to their advantage?
Well, first things first, what we got to look at, and this is what they don't realize, AJ demands the football. He demands it. So he wants the ball on every single situation. I have to have the ball. I'm AJ Brown. Give me the ball. So it's going to be tough because there's nobody on the team. Romeo Dobbs is not, he's not Devontae. He's not Smitty. They're not on the same wavelength. So you have to remember, you can't really double like you wanted to because you had Smitty. You couldn't double like you wanted to because you had Saquon. They don't have the skill positions in New England. Do I see him having a good season? Yeah, but is he going to get his biggest numbers, which was his first year in Philly, 2022, 1496? No, he's not going to break that record. Most I can see him get is maybe 1,200 yards, maybe 70, 65 catches. I do think he'll have a lot of touchdowns this year. So maybe he'll catch about 12 to 13 touchdowns, which will be maybe NFL. He'll lead the NFL in touchdowns because he's their predominantly number one receiver. So he will just throw it to him every time in the red zone. But I can't I can't see where he's going to make an immediate difference. I actually can see him actually becoming a problem child for New England, being an issue. But he'll get his numbers. One guy said this. He took a picture with the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Yeah, he was mean mugging. He took a picture with the NFL football. He was smiling. So he cares more for the football than he cares for the trophy.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Like over the other side, Smitty. I'm not even an Eagle fan, but I'm happy Smitty getting his shot at being wide receiver one. I think what I'm interested to see is what he does at one because now scouting report changes. Now you're getting the best corner. Smitty wasn't getting the best corner every time.
mhm,
AJ was getting that best corner. So I want to see if corners try to get physical with him, how other defenses try to play Smitty and kind of what the strategy is to kind of throw him open. We know is an excellent route runner,
mhm.
but that's a different thing when you're the guy,
That's true.
you know?
I mean, he has the same build as Marvin Harrison and the same game as Marvin Harrison. So what it depends on the offense that they run. What I love about Sean Miniman is that he is running a under the center offense. So it's going to be a whole lot of play action. Give Smitty a chance to get off the line. So you can press all you want, but you're not going to know what they're running because we could be handing the ball to Saquon. We can throw it to a tight end for a screen. We got Lemon, who's
True.
who's a good slot receiver. You got Hollywood Brown. You got Elijah Moore. I mean, they have, and then they also got Dontarian Wicks from Green Bay, and he was a baller too for them.
Yeah.
So now you got all these wide receivers in the wide receiver room. That's gonna just open the offense up, and everybody's excited, especially Saquon. Saquon says, "I'm super excited to see what the Eagles do," and I'm excited for them too because it's gonna be interesting going forward for Philadelphia offensively. Now, defensively, of course, everybody's saying that the Rams will be the better team because of their acquisition. But I think defensively, it's between them and Philly. I mean, Philly, they signed the number one cornerback in Tariq Woolen. Then on top of that, they signed Graynard, and Graynard was a great sacker for the Vikings, and he was a great sacker when he played with Houston. So you look at what he used to do as you have him lining up on the edge. You still have Jalen Carter. You still have Jordan Davis. You still have Nolan Smith Jr. They're going to be a problem.
So, just what's a successful season for y'all? Is it the Super Bowl or is it just 13 wins? Like, what does success look like for Philly? Just being realistic as a fan, like, what would be like, all right, we did that.
In the words of First Things First, SBOB, Super Bowl or bust. They're
Mm.
SBOB team.
Even
They
with even with Miles Garrett, you still feel that way.
Super Bowl or bust. They don't have to win it. They just got to get to the bowl. Super Bowl or bust. That's it. Super Bowl or bust. It's no Jalen Hurts has put himself in a category where he has two great Super Bowl performances. Not most quarterbacks have that.
True.
I can name 5 that even when you look at Peyton Manning, he didn't have 2 good Super Bowls, so he doesn't
Right.
count. Eli, yeah, he had 2 great Super
Yeah.
Bowls. Brady, he had 2 great Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes, 2 great Super Bowls. John Elway, 2 great Super Bowls.
Right.
You can't name too many. Jalen Hurts, 5th quarterback, 2 great Super Bowls. Super Bowl or bust. That's it.
I can't argue with that. Let's talk about Jettas, man. I know Justin Jefferson's your guy, and it's just awkward to see him have to answer questions about McCarthy, about Kyler Murray. You could just tell Murray and McCarthy can't stand each other, bro. It's
Mhm.
just an awkward situation where you could tell he was blindsided by Murray getting there. He thought this was his year. Did they give up on McCarthy too soon? You know, obviously the kid has a ton of talent. You know, after seeing Sam Darnold win, man, like I think like everybody deserves a certain amount of patience and grace, right? Just growing as a quarterback, just everybody learns in different times and progresses at different times. What do you think about what the Vikings got going on with that quarterback battle?
I mean, it's still wide open because Kyler Murray lost his job. He lost his job at quarterback. So both guys have done the same thing. Now, Kyler Murray has made his team go to the playoffs, one time? But he wanted to play Call of Duty more than learn the playbook. So this is what you're bringing into Minnesota. And you're also making this hard on Jettas. I mean, some people think Jettas is, with what he's done his years in the league, his numbers go up against Calvin Johnson. They go up against Jerry Rice. They go up against even Randy Moss. So for Jettas not to be looking where he needs to be, this is a bad situation for Minnesota. You got Kyler Murray. He better learn the playbook because you got too many weapons to blow it here, you know? And one, him running the ball is wide open for him. He can run anytime he wants with the receivers that he has and the depth that he has. There's no reason why the Vikings at least be finished second or third in that division. Of course, you got the Bears who look good. Of course, you got Green Bay, who's always in the thick of
Always in the
things.
mix.
Yeah, but there's no reason. Mobile quarterback, the run game should excel, and the pass game should excel.
Let's talk about your favorite guy, man. One Lamar Jackson. Salute to Pompano, man. They know they love you over there. Golden Acres, man. Salute to my people over there in the know. But what does this year signify for Lamar Jackson? Because you know it's been a lot of heartbreak, a lot of almost theirs, you know, blunders. Whether it's a fumble, whether it's a Mark Andrews drop, it's just always some kind of catastrophic destruction of why Lamar Jackson can get over that hump. Now, the first hump might be just to get to the Super Bowl, and the second might be to just to win it. Where do you see the Baltimore Ravens? Are they still contenders with Harbaugh gone and just the new changes over there in Baltimore?
It's a new system. They don't have the same 2 tight ends anymore. Of course, the number 2 tight end went to, the Giants. So they used to running a 2 tight end set where you could run the running back and then the tight ends would get open or the receivers would get open. Now you can put a spot safety over their wide receiver. You could put somebody in the box. I mean, people are going to play them differently. So I really have to see what the OC does because it's on the basis of the offensive coordinator. And then Lamar's not the same Lamar. I can see his speed. He doesn't get away from people like he used to. He is not the same Lamar Jackson. He is not going to make you look stupid like he used to do. He would take off for 85 yards and get a touchdown with all the weapons that he had. Now it's like he's a step slower. I mean, to lose like he lost to Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers, it kind of shows who that team is. So I think that defensively they will be better, but offensively, I think they're going to be worse. That's just me. Think they're going to be worse. I think that them losing the backup tight end because Mark Andrews is every year he's a step slower. Every year. Now you're betting the bank at tight end position on Mark Andrews, an old receiver.
They lost likely. I'm surprised they
Yeah.
let that happen, I'll
Yeah.
be honest.
I mean, I think likely is
I'm
going to
happy. I was a Giants fan. I'm
listen.
happy.
You heard it here first.
Let's stay with the Giants, man. What obviously OBJ, you know, they got what's my guy's name, the other receiver they picked up? Juju's over there now.
Hmm.
What do you think about that wide receiver room? Does OBJ have anything left in the tank, or is it just a PR move to bring him back?
I think it's PR and retirement. And also, I think, too, it'll be good for him that if they make the postseason, you can say his last season, he made the postseason with the Giants. If this is towards the end of his career, I think Harbaugh has something to prove because I don't blame Harbaugh fully for what went on in Baltimore. Of course, I believe it was the OC's problem, but now he's in a different system. We're going to see how they run the ball. We're going to see how they pass the ball. We're going to see. And so we got to see also how people look if they're healthy because they said Neighbors is not fully back yet.
Yeah,
And so,
I seen a video of him limping. I
mhm.
was like, man,
Yeah, not everybody comes, everybody's not built, everybody's built. There's some bodies, listen, like LeBron, twist the ankle, tie your lace, and keep playing.
you're right.
You've seen Brunson got it in him too, twist his ankle,
Keep
tie it to
playing.
keep playing.
Yeah,
Neighbors, you get hurt, you might not see him for a year. So it's gonna be interesting.
no, for sure, man. What else going on in the league you want to talk about?
Let's go off topic, man. Let's talk. We was talking about movies. Talking movies. Let's go back to the movie topic. We were talking about the horror genre, and the last genre of horror being good was Smile and The Welcome to Derry. Do you think it's the directors, or do you think the acting is what's off now with the people who we have doing these things?
That's a good question. Me personally, I like not to nerd out on some cinematography stuff, but a lot of my friends are great director of photography and cinematographers. So I've been around some talented minds. I like when the camera talks. The camera should be your audio, right? So let's look at like The Ring and all these movies. The camera, you're shooting long hallways. It just brought you in versus before you even heard anything.
Mm,
You was already in the mode of it, right? And I think Derry did that. How dark it was shot, it brought you to Derry. I think The Penguin did that, even though that's not a horror, but I mean just how DC films darker things. Marvel with their stuff is darker. So I'm into that more darker palette of cinematography. So I think that has a lot to do with it. A lot of these other movies are just more jump scare stuff.
mhm,
And I'm more of a psychological thriller and the horror is like secondary, but like not knowing what's next versus like a jump scare. Or like you said, seeing the scary person every time on camera. You know, once you reveal the villain,
yeah,
it's kind of like, oh, this trash. That's why you can't even watch like Freddy Krueger and all these movies. It's
yeah.
like
It's
you
not the
laugh
same.
now.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. And you know what's crazy that you say that? Has Hollywood lost its substance? You know, we had better substance back in the 80s, the 90s. Some people call the 80s the golden era. Commando, Predator, all the Night of the Living Deads came out in the 80s. Now the only thing that we're known for is the superhero genre. That's the only thing that's selling in the theaters. And superhero genre means that, and for me, I feel like the writing is gone. There's no good writing. You can't write a good story anymore. No one's writing a good story. Every story is, I'm going to steal what you give me and make it my own.
Yeah, I mean, you're not right. I mean, think about it. Marvel might have all the in the Marvel universe, like, they probably got all the good writers.
True.
So it's one of those things where, and I think now to answer your question about like the golden era, it's so much good content now.
Mhm.
You know, if I say what's a good show, you could probably name 10 shows right now.
Mhm.
It's almost like the NBA, right? Where like the players are so skilled now. So
Mhm.
you can name like 20, 30 good movies back then, but now you can name like 20, 30 good shows
True.
that are just as good as your favorite movie. So I think
Mhm.
like Dairy, we talked about
Yeah.
that's a series.
Yeah.
That's not even a movie. So
Stranger Things.
Stranger Thing, exactly. So I think like when you dealing with those kind of things, it changes the landscape. So it's hard to judge. But I think the writing and just the cinematography for me is like a big deal.
Do we need big scale actors in the horror movies? Because they like to introduce all the new people in the horror movies. I was watching the other day Truth or Dare, and it was a lot of people who only everybody was new besides the Lucy Hale who was from Pretty Little Liars series. Well, other than that, it's always we introducing the new actors or actresses in the horror movies, and you don't know who they are. So how can you even fall in love with the character?
That's a great point. That's a great, I'm trying to think now. Was Scream like the last big thing where you had what's my girl name from the original Scream?
Nev Campbell,
Yeah, and what's other
Courtney Cox.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like those are like they weren't necessarily movie stars, but I think those are like some of the big star
You recognize,
that started like the
I mean,
trend.
Jamie Lee
Obviously
Curtis.
Jamie Lee for sure.
Exactly. Who else? Johnny Depp was in the first Freddy. So
That is true.
you had big name people who you could recognize,
Right.
but you can't recognize some of these guys in these horror movies. It's people I never seen before. Listen, I sit down, shout out to my wife. My wife loves horror. I sit down and we be watching the sci-fi horror movies. I'm like, why are we watching this? This is terrible. but she loves the horror genre. But when I watch the genre, like I just watched Hokum. Hokum took an hour and about 15 minutes before it got scary.
Yes, I'm saying the lead ups be
It's like you trying to lead me up to give me a heart attack, and it ain't gonna work. I'm like, I'm not. When I see the face of the witch or anybody, I'm just like, oh, okay,
yeah.
whatever. I'm going to sleep. You know?
No, that's real. I mean, y'all tap in, chat, everybody. Like, what's some good horror movies that we might not know about? Because they got stuff like Japan and like
Yeah,
it's other countries
they have better horror.
that way better. It's just not in English.
Yes, yes, not. Yeah,
So it's just one of those things, man. But let us know, man. Anything else? No, what else you got going on?
man, just here, man. Just getting ready. I got to take a flight to the A, come back. You know the deal, man. Just ready to record and lock in.
Nah, for sure, man. Thank you for all the support out there. Keep checking into us, man. A lot of people loving. So now we got Prince and Barty News Network. So you see what it is. So 24/7 news updates. Got a lot. We covering the World Cup all throughout. Stay tuned, man. Serena back, tennis heating up. So it's a lot going on, man. Stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed the episode. See y'all next time.
Next time.
Prince and Barty.